The man, while gaming, just told his girlfriend to get on her knees. He wanted to experience the wild thrill of some hot and cold action. But unexpectedly, his girlfriend's mouth suddenly split all the way to the back of her ears. The screams reached the male protagonist's ears as he was pushing towers. But not only was he not surprised, he even calmly destroyed the enemy's crystal. Then, based on his memory, he opened the door that was being frantically pounded on by his beautiful neighbor, indicating she could come in to hide, but only if she closed her eyes first. The beautiful neighbor obediently complied, signaling that as long as she could get in, the male protagonist could do whatever he wanted. It felt more like terms of some kind of transaction. The next second, the male protagonist decisively swung his kitchen knife and chopped off the beautiful neighbor's head. The system also popped up a notification about gaining points for killing a potential zombie. It turned out that the male protagonist, Evan Forrest, was originally an ordinary solo living interior designer. An hour ago, he had kindly helped a desperate beautiful neighbor, but unexpectedly, she mutated without warning and bit him to death. However, at the moment of his death, he successfully connected to the zombie apocalypse survival system, which allowed him to be reborn 1 hour before his death. Evan Forrest added the points he just obtained to his strength, and personally felt the changes after his strength increased. At the same time, the beautiful neighbor's headless corpse actually attracted another zombie. It wasn't until Evan Forrest opened the door that he alerted the zombie, which rolled its disgusting eyeballs and stared at Evan Forrest. After about a few seconds, the zombie lunged toward this fragrant meal, but Evan Forrest's blade struck down again, the sharp kitchen knife instantly severing the zombie's head, and the system once again popped up a notification about gaining points for killing a zombie. Looking at the beautiful neighbor's body's intactness, Evan Forrest figured it would attract more zombies, and he could just hide behind the door for sneak attacks to kill more zombies. Soon after an hour, layers upon layers of zombie corpses had blocked Evan Forrest's doorway, and he had also gained a large amount of points. Afterwards, he searched everywhere for the beautiful neighbor's corpse but couldn't find it. Wait a minute, could she have already been completely devoured? That would be a bit tricky. So filthy, and they would definitely start to stink piled up here. The hallway is a public area. As a resident here, he had to clean it up properly. Then he found a hemp rope and tied all the corpses together. Just as he was about to throw them into a nearby garbage pile, the light bulb overhead suddenly started buzzing. And then a familiar silhouette in a wheelchair was slowly moving around the corner. It was a middle-aged man who had been a drug addict in his youth. He got electrocuted stealing electrical wires and was lucky to have his limbs amputated to save his life. When the man saw the living Evan Forrest, he immediately roared ferociously, wanting to pounce on the delicious flesh. But in the end, Evan Forrest still chopped off his head with one kitchen knife strike. Uncle Jason, doesn't your family live on the 2nd floor? How did you get up to the 7th floor? Did you come specifically to deliver a wheelchair to me? I was just worried about how tiring it would be to drag them to throw them away. Uncle Jason, you're such a nice person. Don't worry, I'll return it to you after I'm done using it. Just like that, Evan Forrest threw all the zombie corpses into the garbage bin downstairs. He still found it hard to believe that it was already the apocalypse. In order to keep living, I must go collect some supplies. But speaking of which, should they count as wet garbage or recyclables? This is the downside of living alone. There's no one to help me figure these things out. At this moment, Uncle Joe's drug addict son on the 2nd floor was waving at Evan Forrest. This bald guy had bullied Evan Forrest before, stealing his bicycle and getting caught, which eventually involved the police. Although the bald guy returned Evan Forrest's bicycle, he still beat him up badly the next day. Evan Forrest stared coldly at the bald guy and asked, "What do you want?" The bald guy was shocked to hear Evan Forrest speak. Holy crap, this idiot actually dares to talk. Isn't he afraid of attracting zombies? But it's better that he's an idiot. I'm starving to death. I can use him to do my bidding. Then he wrote on paper, "Go find some food and drinks and bring them to my door." Evan Forrest shook his head and answered very directly, "Why should I?" No. The bald guy suppressed his anger, his lips moving slightly as he cursed softly, "You bastard." Then he wrote on paper again, "Do as I say, and I'll let you live with me. When I find a chance, I'll take you out of here. I know a secret base." But Evan Forrest still calmly refused him. "I still won't." The bald guy's expression darkened, on the verge of rage. "I didn't expect this kid to be so ungrateful, then don't blame me. Since you want to die, I'll grant your wish." Saying this, he threw several metal plates toward Evan Forrest's location. Those metal plates immediately made loud clanging sounds when they hit the ground. Soon, there was movement in the nearby corridor, and several zombies roared and charged crazily toward Evan Forrest. The bald guy watched excitedly from the 2nd floor. "Weren't you so tough just now? What happened? Got scared stiff already? Are your legs too weak to even run?" But the next second, Evan Forrest swung his kitchen knife and chopped off 2 zombies' heads with one strike, also gaining 2 points. The bald guy's mocking laughter stopped abruptly at this moment. "Holy crap, this kid is actually this powerful? I admit you've got some skills, but so what? There's still 1 zombie left. What now, can't react in time? Any idiot who dares disobey my orders deserves to die." Evan Forrest hoisted the remaining zombie onto his shoulder. It wasn't that he didn't have the ability to kill this last zombie, but rather he deliberately left this zombie alive, then threw it up into the guy's residence. The bald guy was speechless that he had inexplicably caught the zombie. Then Evan Forrest waved and left amid screams. "If you have any questions, just ask him. You won't be like me, without even a companion to help answer questions." Soon, Evan Forrest arrived at a nearby supermarket and killed several zombies inside right at the entrance. After shopping for supplies, he habitually went to the counter to check out with the cashier who had already turned into a zombie. These supplies should be enough for me for a while, and I also bought some seeds. I'll find a suitable place to plant them later, so I can gradually become self-sufficient. It's just that this kitchen knife is already chipped. But just as he was thinking about getting a more suitable weapon, a bus was speeding rapidly toward Evan Forrest, and the sound of the engine also attracted a large group of zombies. However, the oncoming headlights made Evan Forrest recall his unfortunate childhood. It turned out that when Evan Forrest was very young, his mother died in an accident, and his father, in order to be with his mistress, planned to abandon Evan Forrest. But Evan Forrest's crying made the mistress irritated. She grabbed the father's steering wheel, saying she wanted to stop the car to teach Evan Forrest a lesson, but ended up colliding with an oncoming truck. Evan Forrest was still immersed in his unfortunate childhood, but the bus driver cursed at him. "Hey, idiot, want to get on the bus? But I don't plan to take you. Just wait for the zombies to gut you and die." But a boy wearing glasses beside him thought it was wrong. "If we don't let him on, he'll be killed by the zombies we attracted." The teacher said we should help, but before he could finish, the man slit his throat with a knife. Teacher, it's the damn apocalypse. I can do whatever I want. You think a four-eyed bastard like you can lecture me? I've been sick of you for a long time. You honor students are all the teacher's lapdogs. Now that the teacher's not around to back you up, you're at my mercy. Since you're so compassionate, I'll be merciful and send you down to keep him company. After pushing the boy off the bus, the man drove the bus away, but he still looked nervously at the rearview mirror. This idiot actually carries a kitchen knife with him. Is he planning to fight the horde alone? What a moron. At this moment, Evan Forrest snapped out of his thoughts, muttering, "Die? I won't die. I made a promise to Mom. I will definitely become the brave, bright, and kind adult in her eyes." Then Evan Forrest threw his kitchen knife forcefully at the bus's tire. With his powerful strength attribute points, the kitchen knife indeed pierced the tire. The unbalanced bus crashed into a roadside sign, causing it to overturn. The man who had been so arrogant just moments ago was now crying for help like a dying dog. I was wrong, I really know I was wrong. I'm sorry, please save me." Evan Forrest glanced at him and shook his head. "You don't know you were wrong. You just know you're about to die and you're scared. Oh right, your friend is here to find you. I'll leave now and let you two catch up." The man was confused. "What are you talking about? At a time like this, how would I have any friends looking for me? Come back and save me." But as soon as he finished speaking, the bespectacled boy he had just slit the throat of and pushed off the bus appeared, along with the large horde that had been chasing the bus, crazily tearing his body apart. Now Evan Forrest's strength attribute had reached a super strong 35 points. But just as he was passing by a residential area, a widow and her child upstairs called out to him. "There are so many zombies at that intersection over there. How did this young man get here?" But that's not important. What's most important now is, Evan Forrest originally wasn't interested in the woman, but seeing the starving little girl beside her, he couldn't bear it. Then he arrived at the door and saw the woman already kneeling on the ground. "Young man, I know this request might be too much, but please share some food with me. There's no food at home, my husband is dead, and I really have no choice. I don't need much. Just a little bit, enough for my daughter to eat." Seeing this, Evan Forrest directly handed over 2 pumpkins and winter melons. "I'll sell you a few." The woman was surprised. In this situation, is money still useful? Never mind. Since he wants it, I'll give it to him. But at this moment, Evan Forrest's gaze was attracted to a hanging item on the wall. The woman took out the sword. "My husband really loved gaming, so he bought this replica sword. If you like it, I'll give it to you. It's so dangerous outside now, you can use it as a weapon for self-defense." Evan Forrest said he felt embarrassed, but in reality, he couldn't put it down. The woman told him to take it. "My daughter and I can't use it anyway. You need it more than we do." Evan Forrest waved goodbye in a friendly manner. "Don't worry, I won't take your things for nothing. If you need anything, just call me." The little girl thought this uncle was a bit abnormal, but the woman said, "Maybe we're the abnormal ones." Evan Forrest looked at the replica artifact in his hands excitedly. "I've seen this Frostmourne on websites before. I've always wanted to own one. It must feel great cutting down zombies with it." But just at this moment, a woman suddenly fell from the sky and crashed in front of Evan Forrest, her body covered with bruises, forming a stark contrast with the intact skin elsewhere. A fat man stood on the 5th floor balcony looking very displeased, with several scratch marks on his face. "What a shame, who knows when I'll come across such prime prey again." Evan Forrest downstairs could tell at a glance that the woman had experienced much inhumane torture before death, and the despair, anger, and helplessness in her eyes were exactly the same as the look in his mother's eyes when she looked at his father before she left. He decided to seek justice for the woman and asked the fat man on the 5th floor why he did this. The fat man was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect anyone would still dare to go out on the streets, then he cursed loudly. "Who the hell are you? You don't live here. This is my building, so back off. I can have any woman I want in here, and it's none of your damn business." Evan Forrest had to do something because the mother and daughter who gave him Frostmourne also lived in this building. So he picked up the woman's corpse and counted the floors to confirm the fat man was on the 5th floor. The fat man thought he was scavenging. "What, you want to drag it home and have your fun with a corpse? The thing is, a body that doesn't fight back isn't even as good as a cheap sex doll. Get lost before I get mad, or see how I'll deal with you." Then the fat man cursed and went back to the sofa, opening a can of beer. "I'll go scout for some fresh prey in this building second later. Need to let off some steam. Now that it's the apocalypse, I can do whatever I want. This feeling of doing as I please is so great. At this moment, there was a knock on the door outside, and the fat man reflexively sat up from the sofa immediately. Then he grabbed a wooden stick and came to the peephole to observe. It's the apocalypse. Who's knocking? Could it be a zombie? If there are still zombies in the hallway, that'll be troublesome. How am I supposed to go out and find some fresh playthings later? However, what he saw through the peephole was actually the woman he had just abused to death. Even this utterly evil scum was caught off guard with fright. In reality, it was Evan Forrest holding up the woman's corpse while knocking. Open the door, I know you're inside. Hearing Evan Forrest's voice, the fat man breathed a sigh of relief. So it's this idiot. Get lost, you psycho. But as long as I yell loudly, the zombies I attract will bite that idiot to death. I'm such a damn genius. The next second, the security door was violently kicked open by Evan Forrest, and the fat man behind the door fell to the ground with a crash. He looked at Evan Forrest as if he had seen a ghost. How could a perfectly good security door be kicked open? Evan Forrest looked around and discovered quite a few tools for torturing people. The fat man moved out from under the door and cursed. What the hell are you bringing a corpse to my house for? Don't cause trouble for no reason. Evan Forrest indicated that of course he had to bring her. She needed to witness the fat man paying the price with her own eyes. Then Evan Forrest tied up the fat man and added a gag, planning to send him to the police station to receive punishment. The fat man cursed him as a psycho. Let me go! Have you watched zombie movies? Have you read zombie novels? If you have, you should know how to live in the apocalypse. What to do. Don't you think doing whatever you want feels really great? Evan Forrest immediately slapped him. Are you stupid? Novels are novels, movies are movies, they're all fiction. Can't you tell the difference between fiction and reality? This slap was surprisingly powerful. It directly sent the fat man flying to the entrance of the police station. The fat man was momentarily speechless, his face stinging with pain. Who's the one who can't tell reality apart? What's the point of sending me here? It's the apocalypse. The people here have long since run away. No one can punish me. But Evan Forrest smiled sinisterly. No, you misunderstood. There are still people. The fat man's gaze slowly shifted to the right, sensing the rotten breath behind him. Watching the fat man surrounded by zombies in police uniforms, Evan Forrest completed his mission. Look, even after becoming zombies, they still stand guard here to punish criminals who have done evil deeds. The day after Evan Forrest punished the fat man, a modified armored vehicle arrived outside the library. 3 people got out of the vehicle. They came to the library this time to search for medical-related books. The 3 were vigilant about their surroundings but didn't see a single zombie, thinking they were lucky that there were no zombies inside. But the boss told the 2 subordinates not to rush to open the door while taking out a dagger, and lightly tapped it against a stainless steel pillar, making sounds. The 2 subordinates immediately understood and became vigilant about their surroundings again. If there were a large number of zombies, they would quickly get in the car and evacuate. After testing, the boss quickly opened the door and ordered her subordinates to act quickly and check the location of the medical book classification. But at this very moment, the male protagonist, Evan Forrest, suddenly appeared and greeted the 3 people in a friendly manner. One of the subordinates, whose nerves were extremely tense, was scared and fell to the ground. Holy crap, zombies can talk now? Evan Forrest quickly told them to calm down. I'm not a zombie, I'm a living person. A living person? The boss questioned. What are you doing here? Evan Forrest pointed at the Encyclopedia of Vegetable Planting and Cultivation in his hands. Reading books, what else would you do at a library? One of the subordinates thought it made sense. Boss, you seem to have asked a pointless question. The boss lowered her voice and cursed. Shut up. Then she politely said to Evan Forrest, we mean no harm. Please forgive us if we've disturbed you. Evan Forrest said it was fine. Just keep your noise down a bit. It's a library after all. The 3 were speechless, thinking this might be a trap. Boss, I recognize the sword he's carrying. It's an item from a game. I could understand carrying, normally. But now that it's the apocalypse, I suspect this person's brain isn't normal. But the boss couldn't worry about whether it was a trap or a psycho. Anyway, let's keep our voices down from now on and avoid unnecessary conflict with him. Actually, the boss had a premonition that the man before her was not to be trifled with. Not because she knew anything, but just based on a woman's intuition. To avoid any trouble, the 3 silently sped up their book loading. But just as they were about to leave, they were suddenly called out by Evan Forrest, who was reading. Are you leaving? The 3 immediately tensed up upon hearing this, thinking, is he about to make things difficult for us? The boss still politely asked if there was anything he needed. But Evan Forrest said, you're taking so many books. You need to register before leaving. These books aren't personal property. They all need to be registered when borrowed. Hearing this, the 3 were petrified on the spot. Holy crap, bro, is there really something wrong with your brain? Look at the situation, you still want us to register? Which mental hospital did you escape from? In all of Huang City, there's only Qingshan Psychiatric Hospital. The boss thought his behavior was illogical, but still asked tactfully, may I boldly ask, do you know what the situation is like outside? Evan Forrest answered calmly. I know, it's the apocalypse. There are zombies outside that bite people. Other than that, there haven't been too many changes. The woman's expression was somewhat complicated. She didn't know whether the man before her was truly insane or pretending. The subordinate thought the other party was going to make things difficult for him. Look bro, do you actually know what's going on outside? Were you scared stupid by the apocalypse? Whatever, you have your own ideas. Let's just not bother each other and mind our own business, okay? Evan Forrest told them not to be nervous. I mean no harm, just giving you a reminder. It's indeed very dangerous outside now, and in this situation you definitely don't want trouble, I understand. By the way, my name is Evan Forrest. I live in Sunshine Community, Building 2, Unit 2, Room 704. If you encounter danger, you can find me. I'm very strong. 100 zombies or so are no match for me. Hearing this, the three fell silent simultaneously, thinking, confirmed, this person definitely has problems. Run. The boss thanked Evan Forrest, then quickly left the library with the other two subordinates. Evan Forrest hadn't even reacted yet and they had disappeared. They left too fast, I didn't even ask your names. But whatever, the early bird catches the worm. In order to be self-sufficient with food, I need to hurry and learn about planting. Meanwhile, in an underground base in a certain desert, a group of people in protective suits were conducting various experiments. It's strange, according to our tests, the cell activity in zombies increases slightly every day. You mean the zombies are evolving? You could say that. Never mind that. I just want to know if we can develop a virus antibody. No, these viruses are strange. We've never seen anything like them, not even anything similar. Do you know about zombie genes? You mean these people are all resurrected from the dead, living in another form? After the male protagonist Evan Forrest finished reading the vegetable planting books, he returned to the residential area and found an empty plot, planning to plant some crops there. But this empty plot belonged to a public area. Rashly planting there might attract large numbers of zombies and destruction from residents. So he deliberately shouted loudly toward the residential area, I am Evan Forrest, a resident of Building 2, Unit 2, Room 704. From now on, I will be planting crops on this empty plot. Does anyone object? Sure enough, this shout directly attracted all the nearby zombies. Even the zombies in the residences broke through windows and jumped down from upstairs after hearing it. In the blink of an eye, a large number of zombies gathered together and launched an attack on Evan Forrest. Evan Forrest immediately drew Frostmourne and cut down the oncoming zombies. They offered no more resistance than butter. His points were skyrocketing with each kill. Before long, the empty plot was covered with corpses. This way, Evan Forrest didn't have to worry about zombie ambushes while planting vegetables. To be safe, he continued shouting toward the residential area a few more times. Does anyone else object? After confirming there were no zombies nearby, he suddenly felt hungry and planned to get some good food nearby and also check on how the mother and daughter were doing. Then he got a Chinese soft-shelled turtle from the market and had dinner while delivering supplies to the mother and daughter. The woman knew the principle that receiving help requires giving something in return. There's no help without reason. You've already helped us selflessly so much. I didn't want to make you uncomfortable, but my husband is already dead, and I'm worried that if something happens to me, my daughter will... Evan Forrest heard the implication and stopped eating to ask what she needed help with. The woman was stunned. She completely didn't expect Evan Forrest to agree so quickly. So with a blushing face, she spoke her mind. I want to take my daughter and go with you. Evan Forrest had never thought about getting anything from the woman and thought they wanted to move to his old residential area. If you really need to move here, I'll go ask at the real estate agency for you. The woman looked at Evan Forrest with a baffled feeling, thinking, are our thoughts really on the same wavelength? At the same time, on the rooftop of a certain upscale residential area, a middle-aged man's phone suddenly vibrated. His expression changed dramatically. He treated every call as a rescue call, but the voice that came through after he answered left him stunned. Hello, Mr. Chen. Regarding the house you listed with Sinfeng Real Estate Agency, I'd like to ask if you can rent it to me. Derek Chen angrily hung up the phone. Psycho. Making such a boring joke at a time like this, is he blind? Can't he see what it's like outside? The apocalypse came so suddenly. If this weren't an upscale residential area with strict daily access control that not just anyone can enter, we would have been done for long ago. These days, everyone's been on the rooftop watching the sky, hoping for rescue like helicopters, but we haven't even seen a ghost in all these days. But just as Derek Chen was looking melancholy, the phone rang again. This time, before the other side could speak, he started cursing. Damn it, are you sick or something? Evan Forrest on the other end was surprised. Why are you